understand? Did General Manamela understand Mr. Matlala is your partner, is your intimate partner as you describe him? That's your language. You say, I have an intimate relationship with him. Did General Manamela understand when you spoke and disclosed your relationship that in fact you have an intimate relationship with him, you have an ongoing relationship, you've just not been talking to each other? General Manamela understood that. Is that what you're saying?
Commissioner, I think she did understand, because I remember even her making a joke to say, issues sabojolo hadiseni, this is a workplace.
Yes, so General Manamela had no difficulty, and she may not appear before us. So it's important that we get your answer clearly. General Manamela had no difficulty with you being involved in a contract, in managing a contract where your boyfriend is the service provider. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Buck.
And Brigadier, was any of this recorded formally, or was this just verbal at that one meeting?
No, it
the
was
disclosure.
No, it was not recorded anyway. It was just our verbal discussion.
Yes, which raises another question for me. I would imagine, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because you know that environment better than I do, that the SAPS would have a policy on disclosures of conflicts of interest or potential conflicts of interest, and that policy would prescribe how that is to be done, where the disclosure should be made and to whom it should be made. Is there such a policy in the SAPS?
I'm not aware of such a policy whereby you have to disclose your relationship. I'm not aware of it.
No, I'm not saying disclose your relationship. Disclose any conflicts of interest, potential conflict of interest or actual conflicts of interest. I am imagining there's such a policy in government, including the SAPS. Are you saying you're not aware of a policy that requires you to disclose conflicts or potential conflicts of interest?
I'm not aware of a policy.
All right, thank you.
Sorry. Do you know if Mr. Matlala's company disclosed the conflict when they responded to the RFQ, when they submitted the bid? Do you know if they disclosed that actually the end user is my on-off partner?
I don't know if Mr. Matlala have disclosed, Commissioner, because by then, as I have indicated, we were not in a relationship. So I'm not aware on the document if he has indicated it. And I don't think he will even know that I was the end user, because this contract has quite a number of end users. It's not only me who was the end user. You'll get someone that is doing a recruitment into SAPS. That person will be an end user. You'll get people that are doing incapacity leave in the organization. You will have someone that is leading that stream. You will get a stream whereby...
Brigadier, I think you've answered me and I'm not cutting you short. I'm worried about the time because it's almost our tea time. So just one last question and a short answer, please, because it should be obvious. In June, when Mr. Matlala's company gets appointed, the relationship is flat, nothing is happening. When did the two of you start the relationship again? When did you suddenly agree that, okay, now things are back to us being in a relationship?
I don't remember.
These things are important, Brigadier, so think carefully.
Yeah, no,
These things are important.
I don't remember when did we start again with our relationship after he was awarded the contract. I don't remember.
I want to remind you, Commissioner Mkwanazi's words in this commission were to the effect that at the end of it, we must make findings and recommendations. And it would be unfair to make findings and recommendations on things that you are able to answer, but you choose not to. 2024 is not a long time ago. And if somebody is your partner or your lover, surely you must know when did things start again. Because you were very clear that in June, nothing was happening. So surely you must know when did things start moving again. Please think about it and try to answer it, Chair, after tea, because it's very important.
But may I just put in this question, but would it have been before December 2024? When you resumed your relationship?
Sorry, Commissioner?
Would it have been before December 2024 when you resumed your relationship? In June, you say you are still not. But by December, would you have resumed it already?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm not necessarily blocking Commissioner Khumalo's question because he wants specificity. You say June not. So Commissioner Khumalo wants when did you resume? So that's what you should mull over during the tea break. Let's adjourn and resume at 11:20.
About to start, please make sure that your cell phones are off, and we're ready to start. Thank you.
We saw the live interview. We are still not late. Ms. Boy,
Thank you, Chair. Brigadier, just before the break, Commissioner Khumalo had asked a question regarding whether you remember when your relationship with Mr. Matlala became on again. Did you recall, or you still don't remember?
Thank you very much, Commissioners. I think it was in late 2024, maybe around September, October, but it was late in 2024.
And in late 2024, when the relationship now was actively ongoing, did you perhaps think it was important to go back to speak to General Manamela, given that the first description you gave her was, we have an on and off relationship? Now you definitely know that you are in a relationship with a contracted service provider. Did you go back to talk to her about this?
Yes, I did.
And
Fortunately, General Manamela is someone that you can talk to most of the things. Yes, I did.
Sorry, Brigadier, you went back to talk to her in, let's say, late 2024 and definitively confirmed you have a relationship. What was her response to that?
Nothing. I think it was still the same response. I can't remember. But I think it was the same response to say, I must just continue and being professional at work.
And again, this was not recorded in any form or fashion?
No, it was not recorded, Commissioners.
Brigadier, let me just go back to a question that Ms. Bowe asked you, and I think you said, when she asked you about your involvement in what she described as contract management of this Medicare contract, and you denied that you are involved with contract management. Am I correct?
That's correct.
What do you understand to be contract management in the context of this Medicare contract? What would constitute contract management?
My understanding of contract management, in SAPS you'll have one person that will be a contract manager of that specific contract. If we are having challenges that we cannot resolve with the service provider, then we'll have to escalate them to the level of a contract manager.
Okay. So where you say in paragraph 4, you would urge him to facilitate appointments, it's because you said it's because members were complaining.
Yes.
The CFO, the CEO, or something you call them, environmental officers, were complaining. So you step in.
Yes.
And urge him to make appointments for members. That's what you say in your
That's
paragraph
correct,
4.
Commissioner.
And then you also say, you also urge him to pay his contracted service provider. That's his business. So why do you come into it? Why are you involved in an issue about Mr. Matlala's company paying his service providers?
Sometimes members of or members that are managing the contract or that are giving out authorization, because they knew the nature of my relationship with Mr. Matlala, they will call me and say, you know, we are struggling to get an appointment maybe for divers with Dr. So-and-so, because Mr. Matlala have not yet paid them. Can't you talk to him and ask him to pay the service provider? Yes, indeed, I will, and urge him to pay the service provider.
And so from your description, what you've just explained now, this was not part of your functions to urge him to pay his service providers. You were doing it because people know you have a relationship with him, so as his girlfriend, you're talking to him to pay his service providers.
That's correct.
It's not your responsibility.
That's correct,
That is
Commissioner.
correct. So at this point, you now have a relationship, you are back on with him when you now talk to him about paying his service contract, his service providers.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And then you say, and correcting him when numbers were not corresponding, which effectively qualified him to invoice lesser. This to me sounds like a purely finance function, not your monitoring, surveillance, and making sure that there is surveillance of your members. The discussion about invoices being corrected, I don't see how from how you have described your responsibilities, where it comes in that you're responsible to now look at invoices for correction, even if it means him being paid lesser. I don't see how that flows from your responsibilities. Yes, you may comment.
I was not correcting him for invoices. When medical surveillance have been attended by the members, there will be an attendance register which will be kept by the service provider as well as our ECO members. They will keep the attendance register. Sometimes the attendance register is not corresponding. His attendance register and our attendance register will not be corresponding.
Yes, what I'm saying is I don't see why that is part of your functions, that kind of engagement with Mr. Matlala, that you are the one that has to solve non-corresponding registers. Your ECO officers are responsible for this. They are the ones that know what appointments are being made. Just make me understand why and how that fits into your responsibilities relating to this contract.
If there are any fruitless expenditures regarding the medical surveillance, I'm the one that must account to the fruitless expenditure. And as much as possible, from my side, I was trying to avoid the fruitless expenditure. Reason being, when we started with medical surveillance in my environment, I received an email from She Management, Colonel Mogadi, who indicated that the environment that I am managing has a huge amount of fruitless expenditure due to non-attendance of members.
Okay, can I just stop you there? The point I'm trying to make is, can you see from the three things that you have listed that in fact this is contract management? You are managing now the day-to-day performance of this contract, because to urge him to facilitate appointments is to say to him, you are not performing, our members are not getting their appointments. Why that gets escalated to you, I think it's a different debate, but you say to him, comply with the contract. That's a management of a contract, at least that's what I'm suggesting to you. To pay his contracted service providers, I think this has absolutely nothing to do with you as an SAPS person who is the end user of the contract. This you were doing as his girlfriend because others have come and spoken to you. Had nothing to do with your responsibilities. And then correcting him when numbers were not corresponding, which effectively qualified him to invoice lesser. This is contract management. So when you say to Ms. Bowe, I wasn't responsible for contract management, officially, yes, maybe you were not, but you took on this function on this contract of managing the contract in the name of solving challenges, when in fact it is typical contract management. That's what I'm suggesting to you. You may comment if you want to.
From my side, Commissioner, I don't see it as contract management. I see it as stepping in whenever there are challenges. And in SAP's language, we understand contract management to be something else different. Hence, I indicated that I was not managing the contract.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigadier.
Brigadier, just to follow up on two aspects in relation to the answers you gave to Commissioner Baloyi. You mentioned that managers, so the actual contract managers, would then approach you to do ostensibly what they were supposed to do when they had issues with the contract. Do you accept that?
Yes.
So if you
Not
were...
managers, but there's someone that is issuing authorization and doing payment as well. So whenever there are challenges of non-payment, and it's very urgent that the divers must attend their medical surveillance, she will call me and say, hey, we can't make appointments because Dr. So-and-so has not been paid. Can't you talk to him, at least prioritize this doctor so that our divers can conduct the medical surveillance?
Yes, I understand, Brigadier. I guess the question is, if that sounds like a management issue, why was that then not directed to managers if you are now saying that those people were indeed not managers?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you look at paragraph 14, right, where you talk about your disclosure to General Manamela, you say, I further asked if I could recuse myself from the responsibility of managing the medical surveillance and biological monitoring program. And so that sort of management didn't include actual contract management or the provision at least of those services that affected your environment.
That's correct.
Right. Thank you, Brigadier. And then if you look at paragraph 15, just to clarify, at the end of that sentence or that paragraph, you say, perhaps let me just read the whole paragraph. It must be noted that I was not part of the bid specification committee, bid evaluation committee, nor bid adjudication committee, and I was not aware of the service providers that submitted bids for the tender or any engagements with any previous health risk managers that were contracted by the SAPS. What do you mean by that? Are you solely limiting it for purposes of the procurement process?
I'm solely limiting it in the process of the specification of the contract, the evaluation, or the adjudication of the tender.
And I think this was a question that was posed by Commissioner Khumalo. As an end user, there wasn't a part that you were playing in the bid specifications behind the scenes, as end users would contribute to bid specifications as they are the receivers ultimately of the service. So
No,
there was
nothing.
no participation there.
Nothing. The part of the specification, it even started before I can arrive in that environment.
All right. Thank you, Brigadier.
Brigadier, in that paragraph 15, where you can read it together with 14, but I'm raising this in the context of what you say in 15. Is there any reason you don't say in your statement, at the time of the submission of the bid of Mr. Matlala, and at the time that the bid was awarded to him, or the tender was awarded to him, he and I were not in a relationship? Is there any reason you're not saying it that clearly?
Maybe it's the matter of English. For me, I see that I have already covered it. So maybe it's the matter of English and putting it the way you are saying, Commissioner.
No, it's not a matter of English and putting it the way I'm saying it. Nowhere in your statement do you say that. You tell us earlier on about your on and off relationship without saying that as at June 2024, we were not in a relationship. No, your statement doesn't say that. And my question is there, you clearly do see it's important. That's why you're telling us what you tell us in paragraph 14, and that's why you tell us what you're telling us in paragraph 15. It's because you know it is important to convey something that in fact, the fact of your relationship with him, whether on and off, you do know it's important for purposes of why you are here before us and for purposes of this contract. What is curious is, much as you know it is, you've decided it is important, nowhere in your statement do you say when he submitted the tender, which you don't know when, you've told us, and when it was awarded to him, he and I were not in a relationship at that time. You don't say that, and my question is there a reason you don't say it that clearly in your statement?
No, there's no reason, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, I'm going to move to the chat for purposes of questioning the witness alongside some of the statements that arise. So I think it may be easier to just remove the statement and put it alongside the chats. And for just purposes of orientation, because the chats are slightly different from those that we were looking at with witness F, under tab 2, you will see that the chat box that is green would represent chats from Mr. Matlala, and that which is white or gray, depending on the level of your eyesight, will be those of Brigadier Matjeng.
Ms. Bowe, perhaps for the record, you should say the source of these chats, from whose